Hey, welcome to Riding with AMAP, and today you're going to be riding passenger, not Pillion, because we're out there in the Jeeps. That's my silver ZJ after our property got struck by lightning and it blew up one of my trucks. I'm not joking. It was like totally got fried. It was really bad. Anyway, we got struck by lightning and got some insurance money for that vehicle. I was able to get this. So this is a 98 ZJ with a 4.0. I wish it was the stick shift, but it is not. It's just the regular automatic. But I've been finding some other groups. My son suggested I go to Facebook and find some people to ride with. So I found a group. This one's out of southwestern Virginia. They're out of Spearhead Trails area in St. Paul, and they were coming down to Kentucky, and they posted a public post about wanting to take a ride to 16 Creeks, which is where we are, and it's an old mining property, and this is where we're heading right now. You can kind of see we're climbing. We're going to get up to almost 3,000 feet, and you'll see some old mining equipment. Right there I got stuck in the mud with two-wheel drive, so I had to shift it into 4 and to get up the rest of the way. It doesn't look like we're climbing very steep, but it is pretty steep as we're going up. And this group was a pretty fun group of guys. They are 10 rigs in all, including myself. 2 of us were in Cherokees. One was a 4.0 and the manual 5-speed. He had the 2-door, which was pretty cool, little sport model. And I'm in the Grand Cherokee with mine's the ZJ model. It's the first model, so it has a solid front axle and 4 coil springs for suspension in all 4 corners. And I have rear discs as well. There's one of those old mining dump trucks, huge thing that was in pieces. Parts and pieces taken off of it. But as we go around here, the guy in front's named Hunter. He's in a Gladiator, that red one. So he's the only one that his approach angles, well, departure angle, I guess, which is a little bit different. Everybody else is pretty sharp. It's no big deal. And then we got 2 Wranglers, 4 doors. The Gladiator had a 3.6 liter. The Pentastar engine, and I believe the one in front of me does as well. I'm not sure about the second one. Tim is the one riding in the Jeep right in front of me. Then behind me is Sean, and he's got a TJ 2-door with the 3.8 engine in it. And then behind them is that other Cherokee, and behind them is another 4-door. I don't know much about them. And then there was a 2-door Wrangler, and then another 2-door Wrangler in the back. He called his the Punisher, another yellow one. I'm not sure if it was a TJ or what those were, but kind of a fun thing to do. Just nobody knew anybody. Well, I shouldn't say that. Some of the guys knew each other, but for us, just invite any randos to come and play was a lot of fun. So here you can see I've been running time lapse, and this is the actual speed that we're traveling, which is very slowly. And we're not even to the real crazy parts yet. But the rocks and before we filled up with fuel, before hitting the trails, we stopped at a gas station and disconnected sway bars and aired down the tires. I dropped mine to about 20 pounds of pressure and made a big difference. My sway bar had to disconnect with actual tools. I don't have a quick disconnect, but it's no big deal. It's just 2 bolts, and that helps the ride quality a lot when you're off-roading. But these guys are on that TJ right there. He's on 37s, I think, and he said he's running maybe 10 pounds of pressure, so he's riding really floaty. Me and the other Cherokee had 31s, so we were the shortest of the group. But luckily, and some of the guys did not have lifts on their vehicles at all, but they had good tire sizes, which is mainly what you need when you're 4x. You got to worry about your clearance underneath, like your differentials, front and rear, and approach angles and departure angles and stuff like that. So, but here's we start crossing into some flowing water, and you can see again how slow we actually are moving. The time lapse is awesome because it gets the whole ride in about 12 minutes of video, even though you're on the trail for 4 hours. But it makes me feel more like I'm on a motorcycle when I'm watching the time lapse. Here's our first break. Of course, I got my dog with me, and we start talking to the guys, get to know everybody a little bit. We're running the GMRS radios, and they're kind of like modern versions of CB walkie-talkie stuff. They're pretty cool. You're supposed to have a license if you're transmitting. You can buy one for $35 from the government if you'd like. But I don't think they're going to be able to find you if you're just out riding around. So, again, this is deep water stuff. I've almost, let's see, I'm up to the top of my rim there. And we get to where it's, one of the crossings is almost my whole front bumper goes under the water. It's pretty awesome. I would love to take the bikes out on this trail, but after we got some of those deep water crossings, I was like, nope, never mind. The bikes could do pretty much everything, but I wouldn't want to be caught going into water that's 33 inches high. And that's at least what we were doing. On at least 2 of the crossings were very deep. The rest of them not so much, but a lot of these puddles were really nasty on a motorcycle. It would be totally gross just because it's sitting water. Didn't smell very good. Luckily it's winter time. If it was in the summer, it would have been very gross. But it's super fun. It's just, it's a lot different than on a bike, whereas you're totally fixated on your line and where you're headed on a bike, and you don't really notice the scenery. Here you can just putt along and go slow and just notice every little thing as you're driving along. I was taking pictures out the side. I was hanging my GoPro out the side, as you see in some of these actual video shots instead of the time lapses we're watching now. But yeah, here comes a video of us going over this section, and you can see just how much the Jeep's rocking around, how slow you're going, and worried if you're going to hit body panels or if you're going to hit a differential or hit a transfer case or something. So a lot of rocks just poking up, so you have to pick your line pretty carefully, but it's very slow going. It's nothing like going on 2 wheels. There were some side-by-sides we found on the trail, and we saw at the beginning of the video. We pulled over and let them through, but luckily when we got to this technical stuff, it was pretty tight, and we didn't run into anybody coming from the other direction. So super fun day. The weather was fabulous. It was like 65, 70 degrees, just perfect. A lot of some of these guys have ridden this trail in the summertime, and they said they liked it, actually doing it better in the winter because you can see in the winter. In the summer, it's like you're just running through a tree tunnel and there's nothing to see but just what's right there in front of you. Here we got a lot of dead sticks, dead trees everywhere, but at least you can see through them to see some of the vistas, some of the big boulders and things like that Kentucky has to offer. But it's pretty fun day. It's awesome to be able to meet people and maybe make some friendships along the way. So hopefully we'll be able to get out and do some more fun stuff in the future with this group and other groups that I've gotten in contact with. But this has been my winter hobby, and trying to, when I go out on my bike, unless I got somebody with me, either my sons are going to be riding with me. If I'm by myself, I can't take the dog or can't take anything with me. I mean, you can camp, but this is a whole lot more comfortable to sleep in the back of this, especially when it's cold. So it's been a great investment. It's been a fun thing to have. I've enjoyed it. It's a lot of maintenance. I've got almost 200,000 miles on this little rig, but need some more suspension parts. I'm sure there's lots of creaking and stuff going on that might be fixed if I put in some new bushings or whatnot. I've already put some new shocks on it. Tires are probably the next thing it needs. When that's happened, I'm going to put some different wheels on it. I don't like the ones that are on it now with the regular lug wrench. Just won't get in there. You have to have a thin wall, deep wall socket, which is super annoying. With a breaker bar and an extension, you can't just use a regular lug wrench. So I'm gonna go back to the other ones. I found some cheapos for basic stuff, but I painted them up. Should look pretty good. Make it a little bit more manly than looking like a station wagon out on the trail. But hey, of course you can see my roof rack there. That's all my recovery gear and my leveling logs when I'm out camping in it. And you know, when you're stuck, a lot of times it's nice to have those things to either block your tires or lay on, or easier if you need to jack it up. It's better to get this. This is that deep water crossing, super deep. My front tire pretty much disappears, and in one of the sections when I hit it right there, oh, no more tire. And then but nothing, you know, in a bike it would be very difficult. You'd be getting super soaked because you just can't see, you know, you don't know to keep your balance, you know, if you're going to hit a log or a root or a rock or a boulder. But it's, in his vehicle, it's pretty fun. The guy behind me usually had he said he has a snorkel, but he didn't need it for this ride, so he didn't have it on. Let me see if anybody else I need to talk about. One of the guys, the guy Tim in front of me, he actually recognized me from, not me in particular, but when he saw my camera, and he's like, "You gonna have some footage?" I said, "Yeah, I'll put it on my channel." He goes, "What's your channel?" I said, "AMAP." And he goes, "Oh, I've been watching you for years." He has some side-by-sides, and when they were looking for trails to ride out near where they live, that Spearhead, a lot of the videos I had were some of the first of those areas, so he recognized me, or at least the channel's name, so that was kind of fun. And he's got a sticker now that he stuck on the back of his window during the ride. But like I said, it's super, you know, anything you can get you outdoors and having a good time is, I'm all for it. There's the time lapse of that same creek, so you see how much quicker you go in the time lapse. Also saves a lot of battery, so doing this. But I love my 360 cameras, all about it, how you can just set it and forget about it basically, and then in post you just look at what you want to look at. So super awesome. But thanks for watching. There's a few more minutes left. Hopefully I'll be getting out on the motorcycles quick and get that 360 camera out and seeing some fun stuff in the dirt. So thanks for watching.